I'm leaving the modern albergue and making my way to Astorga, and I wish you all a good morning. I have a good morning because I had 2 coffees con leche with lots of sugar, a cookie, and a Napolitano. And that wasn't so easy to get. It's holidays in Spain, and what do? Of course, you get up in the morning and think to yourself, wow, I could go on a pilgrimage to Santiago today. That's why all the beds in all the rooms were full. There was a lot of snoring, and it was cozy and warm overnight, and you had to go to the toilet every now and then. And I saw 1 or 2 pilgrims sleepwalking through the corridors with diving goggles and a snorkel. Funny thing, in any case, you always had light directly in your face when someone woke up. So, recommendation at this point, bring a sleeping mask, and earplugs of course. But luckily I had them with me. Now it's a pleasant 2 degrees. And yes, I set off and I'm already wondering what that is over there. A water reservoir like that looks a bit like the beer paintbrush in Berlin, if you know it. I say, buen camino, see you later. Bye. I am faced with a very difficult question. Do I stop here in this place and have a coffee? Or do I go on? What should I do? What should I do? I don't know. Please let me know in the comments. Over there is Hospital de Orbigo. It's called that because the medieval order of St. John built a hospital here, on the river Orbigo, along the medieval way of St. James, of course. That was a long time ago. Just as long as the imposing bridge on which I am now walking. It became famous in the holy year 1434. It was then that the knight Suero de Quiñones came up with the idea of simply challenging all the knights making the pilgrimage to Santiago de Compostela to a duel. It is said that he never lost a fight and broke up to 300 spears. How did this come about? Well, there are several theories about this. I like the romantic one. To prove his love for a lady from a good family, he claimed that he could defeat all pilgrim knights in single combat. And he kept his word, which established his fame. After the tournament, he then went with the defeated knights on a pilgrimage to Santiago, to Pfalz. With those who survived, the event went down in the history books as the Paso Honroso. Psst. Between you and me, I think it was more of a job creation measure for the hospital set up by the Order of Knights, for what it's worth. Medieval festivals are still held here regularly today. It's always good to have a reason to bring mead and stick bread to the people. Incidentally, the mouse saw the weather forecast yesterday. It's supposed to stay cold, but the sun will shine. Thank you, mouse. That makes me feel confident. Okay, compromise. I went to the supermarket. Bought Cas Orange and Snickers. That will have to do. Good morning, kids. Hope you're feeling a bit better. I'm on my way to Astorga. I still have about 3 hours to go, but it's quite pleasant. I was just at a church, resting there, and then suddenly 3 Spaniards came up to me. They gesticulated wildly and asked me to help them. They shouted miserably, "You there? You have to help us. Hey, you there." Then they dragged me into the church. I helped them carry a very, 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 very large picture, i.e. take it down from the wall, carry it through the church, and then stand it up again in another place. Yes, they take it all very, very seriously here. Easter is a very big celebration for them. Processions take place here every day through the villages. Everything is decorated and prepared for it, and it's very different compared to our home. Maybe I'll see another procession tonight. The place I'm going to is a bit bigger. Maybe something will take place there again. It'll be filmed, of course, and you'll be able to see it. I'm glad you got the get well wishes from Carl and Mike. Carl sent a message from his home. Now I've actually just taken a wrong turn. Luckily, an elderly Spanish woman called out to me and showed me the right way. It's not the first time this has happened, but each time someone was there to help me. A window opened somewhere, and someone called out to me, "Hey, come back, this way." That's cool. People make sure that no pilgrim strays from the path here. That's not what we want. And then I came to a fork in the road where I had to decide left or right, and there was no information about which of the 2 paths would be better. I had no clue. The right-hand path led through a wooded hilly landscape, while the left-hand path went through a flat field. I heard a conversation between 2 pilgrims who said that the right-hand path was more interesting. All right, I thought. Let's go for it, even if it might be more strenuous. And I was more than rewarded. There was a special silence I found, even though there were a lot of pilgrims on the way. Suddenly I hear German voices next to me, a young German couple whom I only meet once briefly and then never again. I am also overtaken at some point by the Dutch woman from the albergue in Leon. Why are they all faster than me? Oh yes, because I'm slower. Okay, I get it. No, I'll tell you why. I could increase my walking speed, integrate a sporting ambition. But I'm not here to walk. Sounds funny, but it is. I'm not here to hike. Pilgrimage is different from hiking. Incidentally, I'm constantly scanning my surroundings to see whether it's worth getting my camera out or not. I don't always succeed, but often enough, I think.
Ich habe leider nichts für dich.
Sorry, friend. I don't have anything for you. I've left another little message for the family. I hope you are well again soon. And then there was an oasis in the middle of nowhere, which, I'll be honest, I didn't understand at first. Do I have to pay anything? How does it work here? First, unbuckle my rucksack and have a rest. And then I bump into a familiar face again. Gio, the Australian, is also here and has a lively chat with David, the owner of this place, La Casa de los Dioses. Link in the video description.
And you go from Qatar, Madrid, or Australia, go to Qatar, or
No, I look Cathay Pacific actually. Cathay Pacific.
Ah!
I have to take the opportunity to make a short video. I was walking through the forest the whole time. And then, out of nowhere, I stumbled into this little oasis where there's food, all kinds of food and drink, and so on, and all for free, all on the basis of donations. In other words, the host, David, provides it all. You can donate, but he doesn't ask for it. Everything you see here is free. Even if you need money, you can just take money. It's also open on the table. He said it's God's place here, and he's just the caretaker. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. A lovely, wonderful idea, he said. That's how you can change society. Give, 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 and take less. Or something like that. So,
Das heißt, der Host, David, der stellt das hier alles bereit. Klar, man kann spenden, aber er verlangt das nicht. Also das ist alles frei. Meinte, das ist hier Gottes Platz und er ist sozusagen einfach nur der Hausmeister. Finde ich absolut super liebe, wundervolle Idee. Er meinte, so kann man die Gesellschaft verändern. Geben, 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 geben. Und nicht so viel nehmen.
I've just got David, who looks after this place.
He's the manager, yeah, right?
The manager, it's God. Guten Morgen, alles ist möglich, no Fata Morgana. Genießen, genau.
Right.
Yeah, danke schön, yeah.
Thank you. There's nothing more to say. That's exactly the point. This place is wonderful. Astorga. Neither the map nor the drone footage showed that Astorga is situated on a hill like Adoris, the capital of Rohan. Looks nice, but dude! The climb was exhausting again. Please forgive me, but afterwards I treated myself to a Guinness in an Irish pub where I had a chat with Mike. Afterwards, we wander around the city a bit, wishing my boys a good night. The albergue is once again an absolute highlight. Top floor, about a dozen single beds, a huge bathroom where I have the chance to weigh myself. I've lost a good 8 kilo. How much weight would I have lost if I hadn't drunk vino? Suddenly I see Gio lying next to me and Mike. We celebrate our reunion and go out to eat together.
You need to see the cathedral. Look at this side.
I'm in Astorga. I'm just going to show you the beautiful paintings here. There's Mike. And we've already met Gabriele and Gerlinde. They're two German ladies, and there's the cathedral at the back. But it's not supposed to be that beautiful here. Mike was inside. We haven't eaten anything yet. I slept for an hour this afternoon. I was very tired.
Good night.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like made out of plastic a little bit.
Oh, this is 40 to 50 euro to eat here. No wonder.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's pretty wild, huh?
Yeah.
Look at that. Nothing but chocolates. And this we'll take the food. That's a great salad.
Mike has told me that this albergue has received top ratings in his Wise Pilgrims app. And yes, I really did not just feel comfortable here. I felt at home. And that's exactly what the owner told me later in conversation. She has walked the Camino so often. She simply wants the pilgrims to feel at home with her, because they are at home there. That evening, Real Madrid were playing FC Barcelona, the Clásico, in Spain. And I saw her and a pilgrim on the living room couch, eating crisps and watching the game. I've already recommended a few albergues. This time I'll add, book this albergue if you know when you'll be in Astorga. Do it. You can certainly postpone your booking. It will be full in high season. A good soul lives here. Good evening, dear pilgrims. Day 21 is behind me. Where was I? I'm still reeling from the impressions of Lyon, I have to tell you honestly. It will stay with me for days. And that's why I'm off to the city center, to the old town of Astorga. A procession is also due to take place here. We've already seen the preparations. It will probably be a bit bigger. Let's see if I can catch anything, we'll see. Today we set off from San Martin del Camino. We had about 23 kilometers on the program this morning. And it was really cold this morning. It was just cold. And I was glad that I was able to set off on time. We had wonderful conversations yesterday with lots of friends, with pilgrims, but it was also very crowded. The Spaniards are on holiday, and I don't want to take that away from them. And everyone can do what they want with their free time. If they all say, hey, let's go on a pilgrimage, then let them. I'm okay with that. But it was really full. The 10-bed room was full, and so was the room next door and the one next to it. So you had to wait ages to get breakfast, or even a drink. But that's how it was, and that's probably how it is in the high season too. Therefore, if you have the opportunity to go in the low season, then do so, because then the number of pilgrims is absolutely manageable. I'm just going to go this way, because every street here looks the same. Everything is very narrow, but this place is a real eye-catcher, with beautiful architecture, lovely balconies that jut out onto this little street. And this city didn't look that big from a distance. But it's huge, and the streets are full of people. Old and young people mixed together, and there are an incredible number of restaurants and cafes, and even an Irish pub and a Berlin-style bar. Of course, I went in there with Mike, hoping to drink German beer. But all that was Berlin, with the posters on the wall depicting the Berlin Underground Network. There was no German beer and no Berlin beer either. When I asked the waitress why the bar was called Berliner Bar, she looked at me as if I came from the moon. Don't ask silly questions, Sebastian. Just drink. And the Camino itself was simply beautiful again today. It was no longer along a main road, and there was no wind. But the weather was very, very good. It was very warm, and the path led us through a hilly landscape, through forest, on a wide terracotta-colored path. And it was absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, in fact, with lovely resting places, with large crosses in places where you could rest. And there was one question that I asked myself more and more today. Is it possible on this path somehow, fittingly I'm standing at a church again right now, to somehow get close to God? God and I, are we getting closer again? Incidentally, a lot of people here are asking themselves this question, especially many Catholics, who I assumed were somehow a little more firm in their faith. No, they also struggle with themselves. They also go down this path to find out, does God exist? Is it possible to meet him? Can you somehow make contact with him? And what is it actually like when you make contact? Do you notice it? Do you realize it? Are you informed that the connection has been established? Yes, I have dealt with this question, carried it around with me, and realized that of course the mind somehow expects an answer, or on the other hand, perhaps the feeling somehow senses an answer. None of that happened, so nothing that I somehow realized. Where you say, now, okay, now he's giving me a sign or something, but nothing at all. And so I just walked through the forest. And what is now becoming increasingly real in this phase of the Camino is what you call the spiritual section. The physical, I can really confirm that. The physical is no longer relevant. I have no pain, I feel my body normally, but without pain. Feet are okay, legs are okay, everything is fine, muscles are working, I'm on the outskirts of the city right now. Wow, it's nice here too, it's beautiful here. I have to show that, sorry. The cities are all similar somehow, but every city has its own special flair. Look how it goes down here. Yes, and the mental part seems to be behind me too. The merry-go-round of thoughts, feelings from the past or from current experiences also fade completely into the background. Or the thoughts in it, they're there somehow, and you realize that something is happening in your life at the moment, and you're somehow aware of your life story, which is always on your mind. But it's like a film that you know, but you've put it back in its case in the cupboard and you know it's there. It's there, you can watch it if you feel like it, and you can also dig out another film that has something to do with your own life. You can watch that too. But it's all archived and well organized in the cupboard. There's no need or desire to take out a film and watch it, so the mental aspect fades into the background. And let's say it's the turn of the spiritual at the moment, apparently. When I walk during the day, let's say 5 or 6 hours, I just walk and feel where I'm walking, feel the stones, see what's around me, and am much more present than usual. I somehow realize that it's a bit like knocking on the door. So maybe you know when you visit someone and you're looking forward to the visit, you're excited about it, and you already have plans in your head about what's going to happen that day, and you're just looking forward to the visit. And then you go there, there's a knock on the door, and that's the moment. In a moment, the person, the woman, or the man opens the door and you're ready to go. In a moment, you can have a chat, or you meet and exchange ideas, maybe an old friend you haven't seen for years, and now you can finally catch up again after such a long time, and the feeling of connection is there. And so this feeling is what carries me through the day. Nothing is there. Nothing is happening, but it's like I'm standing in front of the door, knocking and waiting for someone to open the door. I'm going to go a bit long here. Yes, those were the thoughts. Another thought that was very strong with me today was that it is somehow easier for me to feel something like love, even when you are met with envy or dislike, or perhaps even hatred. And that was the thought. Yes. Even if someone is envious of you, even if someone is hostile towards you, if someone taunts you or attacks you or is full of anger towards you, the thought was, even then, try to treat someone like that with love. And if you can't do that, which we all understand, try to meet them with forgiveness. And that was present today, really, the whole time. There was such a thought in my mind. We get into a lot of arguments, niggles, nonsensical discussions, and yes, we don't allow ourselves the butter off our bread and argue about really unimportant rubbish. Human interaction, especially when it's very entrenched at work, for example, or in private situations, always brings the same niggles and sensitivities to light, and so on. And then nasty accusations are made, and you're somehow taken aback and react in kind. And that's what I thought today. I don't want to do that at all. I was quite blissful about it today. Even if someone had come and hurled the worst insults at me, I would have forgiven them immediately and said, yes, you do everything well, you're a nice person. Yes, that was one thought. The second thought was, as I said, God and me. Does that work? But that was more of a superficial thought. It was a bit of a superficial mind game, but I had the feeling that that was the question at hand. Also, in relation to the distance you've already covered. Yes, you want something in return. You take on a pilgrimage, and I have spoken to many pilgrims, or I know from the past that many of them have the expectation. Yes, if I do this now, then the good Lord must at least give me a sign of recognition. And then we are always very disappointed when nothing happens. And in that sense, it was a bit of a playful thought. Please don't take it too seriously. Well, something has to come now. I delivered. Now something has to come. But I immediately thought, if nothing comes, I don't care, because the hike alone is already very fulfilling. Yes. And then I came out of the forest and suddenly saw this building in front of me, stone walls, all beautifully decorated and adorned. And there was just one guy standing around, and he welcomed us. Well, there were quite a few pilgrims on the way, many Spaniards. And he said, yes, come and sit at my table. The table is richly laid and you don't have to pay anything. Take what you need. Of course, I asked first, where is my wallet? Surely I have to pay for breakfast or coffee or something. And then I looked at it. All the food he had there, fruit, bananas, oranges, apples. Then there was a stand with lots of jars of jam, all kinds of different jams. He had over a dozen different fruit drinks, fruit juices, some freshly squeezed there, lemonades and bread and crackers and cookies and potato chips. And he had all sorts of things there, and you could really help yourself to quite a lot. And that's what the pilgrims did. I was a bit hesitant, so I grabbed a juice because I was thirsty, of course. And little by little we got into conversation with him, and he actually spoke to the other pilgrims. And he said that at some point he had the idea of opening this place, and somehow, through fortunate circumstances, he came across this opportunity to open this place. But he started with nothing. He had nothing on his first day. But then lots of people heard of it and helped him, and they brought him fruits. They brought furniture and food, meat, cheese, eggs, and salads. They just put it out for him, so he told the pilgrims, yes, take what you need, take it. You don't have to pay anything. Of course, a lot of people then paid, and in the meantime there is also a richly filled casket with bills and coins. And then the guy says in all seriousness, he really tells me, you can take what you want. If you don't want to take food, then take the money. Take the money from the casket, take it. If that's what you want, then take it. Are you serious? But he reiterated, take it, I'll give you everything. I'll give you everything. Everything that is here, it's all yours. And that was another one of those moments where you could feel a certain tear in your eye. You could already feel it, at least I did. But I think some others did too. And his thought was simple. At some point in his life, he realized that this is the only truth worth living by. He had been through a lot of pain, and his path led him there. And he thought that if he only gave, then at some point the moment would come when everything would be given back to him. And he had that experience. He said he was building a table and would like to have a nice blanket on it. And a day later, a guy arrived with exactly this blanket. Yes, these are the things that happen here on the Camino. That is simply the human family. That is the human family. And that's the idea of it. Yes, actually simple, isn't it? And then, of course, I said to him, yes, fine, but you own this place here and you pay rent. And he immediately said, "No, this is God's place here. I'm just God's butler." And then I had my answer. I had my answer to the questions I had before. He said, "This is all from God. This is all here. What's here and what's here? It's all from God. He's just the butler. But all he does is say to those passing by, take what you need. It's all here. Take it. Take everything you need. The Camino provides." Yes, that's what they say here. And that's true. I've experienced it again here. And everyone I meet here, whether they come from Australia, Denmark, the USA, Fiji, the Fiji Islands, or South Korea, they all tell me the same thing. We are not all that different. We look after ourselves, our families. We want things to go well for us, and we want things to go well for our neighbors. And in that respect, we're not all that different in the world. Thank God, however you want to look at it, there is a way to come together, to realize that, and that's on the way here. I would have realized that at home, and I'm sure many of us would have, but then you get caught up in patterns and systems that somehow keep you in chains at home. And you can break that by going out once and walking the Camino, for example. You can certainly find other ways, but I had assumed that for many locals this is also a business, of course. They live from pilgrims walking around here. I also thought that maybe that annoys them a little. Maybe they're a bit annoyed, but I think that's also a typical German attitude. When hikers walk past your front door every day, it gets on your nerves at some point. It's always the same birds hopping around, but that's not the case at all. People love the Camino. Every Spaniard loves this Camino. They love the pilgrims. Whether it's 100 a day or 1,000 or even just one, they love them and they greet them and wish them all the best. There is this mentality here, this idea of the human family. And today we stayed in a beautiful albergue run by a Brazilian woman who at some point was fed up with Brazil, packed her things together with her children, and opened this albergue here. And she says it was the best decision of her life. She shared her living room with us. She still has her private rooms, but she shares everything else with us. Her kitchen and other rooms, and she says, it's just beautiful, just beautiful. She loves every day. Now I've talked so much here again. I didn't want to do it for so long, but somehow I still have to practice. Thank you for watching. Today is day 21 over, and tomorrow starts day 22, and it's starting to get mountainous. There's a small climb tomorrow, so the day after tomorrow will probably be pretty tough, because it's Easter week and everyone is on vacation. Mike has booked a whole 7 days in advance. It's incredible how quickly and skillfully he always does it. So we're safe. We have a bed everywhere. Now I'm just coming to a bigger place. People stagger around the houses here. Maybe I'll catch the procession. If I do catch the procession, I'll send back some videos. On that note, have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. Thanks for watching. See you soon.
Das sind so langsam Formen an. Hier laufen einige Uniformierte mit Musikinstrumenten lang. Aber ich wollte noch ein paar Sätze sagen zu.
There are some uniformed people walking around with musical instruments. I wanted to say a few words about Spanish time. Spanish time is actually quite normal time, but the stores close between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. They don't actually open again until it gets dark, but not exactly on time either, so sometimes 10 minutes later. I have told you. I was in a supermarket that was supposed to open at 8 a.m., but it didn't. Then it opened 10 minutes later, and they let us in. And we were told, please don't go in yet, please wait at the tills. The bananas haven't been restocked yet. Then we were allowed into the supermarket. But that's exactly what I love. I like it when things don't go according to plan, and you have to improvise. I always like that. Now they're standing around and gathering. It's almost 10 o'clock. You meet at 9 a.m. and, depending on your mood, you start the procession at 10 or 11. Still very early when you consider that the Spanish day doesn't actually start until 9 a.m. Yeah, you know, hey, let's start the whole thing slowly around 10 or 11, and then we'll parade through the city. Of course, the game between Madrid and Barcelona was also watched in the city's bars. And I still have to laugh today when I think about it. The Semana Santa procession had just started when one of the teams must have scored a goal, Real or Barca, I can't remember. A deafening cheer could be heard from the bars. And all of a sudden, all the hooded hats, all the procession participants, turned their heads in the direction of the cheering. The music stopped, and everyone had to find out what the current score was. Unfortunately, I didn't capture this on camera, but you can imagine how funny it looked. At the end of the day, we're all just human beings in search of redemption, whatever that may be.